Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Doom Tomb podcast. My name is Chris. I am your host. Today, we have a few of the band members from Burn Ritual, and they're based out of Texas, and we go into a whole bunch of different things, whether we're talking about one of the premier beers of Texas, that is Lonestar. We talk a little Sativa. We talk influences, previous bands. We just get into a whole bunch of stuff. So how about this? We just go right into it. This is Burn Ritual. All right, I am with two of the members right now from the band Burn Ritual, based out of San Antonio, Texas. Is that correct, San Antonio, guys?
San Antonio. Well, and New Braunfels, which is basically 30.
It's North minutes. San Antonio.
Right on.
Yeah, we're down here in the Lone Star State.
Yeah.
Guys, how you doing today, man?
Man, kicking it.
Great, man. Fucking great.
All right, so I am with Jake. Say hi, Jake.
Hello.
And Brent. Say hi, Brent.
Word.
Word up. All right, now before we start, I have to commence the libation ceremony for tonight. Tonight, I will be enjoying something from the Borderlands Brewing Company out of Tucson, Arizona, called Noche Dulce. It's a Moonlight vanilla porter with Mexican vanilla, no less.
There you go. Hey, we're close to there. That's our neighbors.
I got to read this to you. It says, "The moon is out, the air is crisp, the Sonoran desert suddenly feels a whole lot more inviting."
Wow.
So let me just crack this open for a sec. There you go. All right, guys. So before we started on mic, you said you might have had a few yourself. What's the beer choice tonight?
Actually, I'm going with the Coors Banquet beer. And it's definitely nothing. We don't have any, what do you call them?
Panache.
None of the fancy stuff. Brent's over here with the Michelob Ultra.
Pure gold, though. It is organic.
Yeah.
Low carb, low calorie.
Hell yeah.
My wife's up my ass, man. I got to watch myself.
Well, I got to admit, I went bougie today. Usually I just go straight PBR. But, I grabbed this at Whole Foods, and I was like, you know what? I got to give it a shot. Why not try it?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm a Coors. I like Coors Light and Coors, Banquet, and then I also like Lone Star a lot. Most of the time when we play live here in San Antonio and Austin, they give us a little bit of a beer tab, and it's almost always Lone Star or PBR.
Hell, I have a Lone Star tattoo on my arm. Yeah, that's how much I love Lone Star.
Yeah,
I got to get a picture of that so I can put that on social, because
hey, it's gotten me a free tour of the brewery before because I sent it into them.
Nice. Now, I was in Austin in March, and that was my first introduction to the fine quality beverage of Lone Star.
Well, that's questionable. Cheap and it's good.
Yeah, it's cheap and it's good, and that's the two things you want out of beer, I guess.
Pretty much. Now, when I was there, I was at a place called Texas Mist. Have you guys played there yet?
Yep. Well, we haven't played as this band, but the majority, actually everybody in this band, we were in a band previous together called King Earth, and we played there once. It was actually for the drummer from DRI.
Felix Griffin
was having a benefit show, and we were like one of the mini bands. But yeah, it was a good time. We enjoyed it.
As a matter of fact, I won a bong in the raffle.
Oh, there you go.
That was, and it was a killer bong. Nice.
I am so shocked. I can't believe DRI is coming to Arizona soon. I can't believe they're still touring.
Yeah, well, is he even in the band? Maybe they have a different guy.
Felix isn't in the band, but I roadie for the singer of DRI in his other band called Pasadena Napalm Division, which is the members of Dead Horse.
Right.
Mixed with the singer from DRI. And yeah, I mean, that's his life. He's a lifer. He lives in an apartment and sells merch and tours the world, man, and that's his life,
Wow. That's incredible. So one of the reasons that we're having this conversation, Jake was I thank you so much. You were gracious enough to extend a branch to me and say, hey, I want to have a little interview here and see what we got going on. And you sent me an early copy of Blood of the Raven. And I got to tell you, man, it's been in my car ever since.
Nice.
It's some great driving music, dude.
Dude, awesome. Well, first of all, we appreciate you having us on the show. I know I've been excited all week to talk to you, and so we're really stoked about it. But as far as the album goes, that's kind of what I was hoping. When you listen to it, it's better to hear the whole album kind of as a journey in a way instead of just pinpointing certain songs. I know certain people have said that when I jam the whole album, you really get a cusp of what's going on, and that's kind of why we wrote it. It's not a concept album or anything like that, but it definitely has that vibe of how everything kind of ties in together. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Well, it flows pretty well.
Yeah.
Now, I ask this question every now and again. You chose the order of the songs for a specific reason to enjoy that journey, or?
Basically, actually the first song on the album, The Mirror, was the last song we wrote as a band, but we knew that we needed actually Blood of the Raven, the song was supposed to be the opener because, hey, the album's called Blood of the Raven, but I just I thought the opening of the album needed something that was a little bit more aggressive, and that's how the Mirror was written. But everything, like I said, it's not a concept album or anything like that, but everything kind of, that's why I like to throw, like after Repent, there's like a fire sound, and there's different things thrown in there. And on Castaway at the very end, there's basically an intro of like some wind sound.
Yeah.
And it finishes with that same sound bite. And my whole thing was to symbolize the album cover with the raven, and he's flying and he's going through different parts of the world and what have you, kind of situation.
Yeah, definitely not concept, but the way Jake throws things together, there's definitely a meaning behind it.
Yeah.
And it means a lot to us, man. And the fact that people are catching on to that, and the way I tell people is, I said, hey, man, get a fat joint, put on some headphones, and kick back and listen to it from cover to cover.
Yeah.
That's the way we wrote it, and that's the way we mean for people to listen to it, because we're music nerds, man.
Yeah.
And we do the same thing, and we've done the same thing since we were 11, 12, 13 years old,
Absolutely.
We kick back, we open it up, we listen to it. It's a mood and a feeling that we're trying to create,
Yeah.
And I haven't had the chance yet to fire anything up while listening to it, but I believe tonight is going to be the night.
There you go.
Because like anybody else, work gets crazy and you don't have time or whatever. But I think I'm gonna kick back because, like I said, I've listened to it in the car all the time, or since you sent it to me. And you know what? Since we're talking about it so much, do you mind if we just start going over it like track by track?
Yeah, let's do it.
So let's start with The Mirror. I got this slow plodding, and all of a sudden it turns into this thick, heavy groove, and it's just the start of this journey with this interesting vocal, like this borderline this ethereal vocal of sorts, or I don't know, how would you describe that? Like almost like a hypnotic kind of vocal?
Yeah, if you're talking about the very first part of the song before it like kicks into high gear, then yeah. I threw I don't know if it was I'm trying to remember what
I say menacing. I always say that first part, it catches me and it kind of raises the hair on the back of my neck. It's very menacing.
Right.
The way it across, and I dig the shit out of it.
Yeah, there was some kind of, I don't even remember what I used, probably some delay and something else, but basically to give it a little bit, because I knew, because, the song starts off with just guitar, and I think the left side of it's not even on both, it's mono basically, not stereo, so it needed some depth in the vocals, and it kind of gives that sound. I don't know if it was a happy accident or what have you, but yeah. Once I did it, I remember doing it real late at night, and that song out of all the songs on the album is the only one that didn't really get rehearsed a lot as a band.
We kind of wrote it.
The song changed a few times. Yeah, so, but basically like everybody records, the drums got recorded first.
Right.
So everything was, the foundation was already there, but I had changed a few things with the riff that starts it off and what have you. So it kind of, I remember writing it real late at night. It was probably like 1 a.m. and doing that vocal line and trying not to wake up my kids and my wife and stuff. But it's not really loud. It's more of not a whisper, but yeah, it's more of a singing kind of low thing.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
And that was the last track. That was the last track that that came together, correct, for the album? Right,
which ends up being the first song, which is kind of funny, but things are weird like that. But
what was the first? Well, and we'll get into, or maybe we'll get into it. Why don't you, as I go down, just tell me what the first track that was written was. What can you tell me about Blood of the Raven?
Well, that's the song.
That's the first one.
The band started off, I'm sure you did the history or whatever. Like, it was a one-man band project thing for me.
Yeah.
And after we decided, oh shit, this might be something special. I wanted to get some band members for the band, and I could have gone anywhere around town probably and got a few guys, but just so happens I was already jamming with everybody that's in the band now in another project, and we all came together, and basically we just had to, I'd never sang for a band before, really.
Right.
And we basically had to learn those two songs as a band. I'm talking about the EP now, like Suffering. And once we realized, hey, it sounds like we're a real band. This is great. The first song we ever wrote, like in a room as all together, was Blood of the Raven. And that's why later on when we decided, what we're going to call the album and what have you, it had to be Blood of the Raven. I mean, it sounded cool to me, but also it meant a lot because that was the first song we ever really did as a full band.
Right.
And by the way, that song came out organically in one jam session in my living room. And we have that original recording, and maybe one of these days it'll see the light of day because it is the best version.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's the other thing. A lot of the times with our songs, I'll write, most of it or a lot of it, on my own at my house, and that song was the song that, like, I remember we took a break and we were probably drinking or smoking in the backyard, and I went back to my guitar, and I was actually trying out Richard had a new SG, and I was like, oh, let me check out this SG, and I started playing that opening riff. And it all just kind of took off from there.
Yeah,
Everybody
the rest of us came inside, and bam, we hammered that thing out and recorded it.
Yeah, so that's how that song came about, basically. And
that's awesome. I mean, you listen to the track. I mean, heavy chords. You got some killer, tasty leads in it. It's one of my favorite tracks on the whole album. Honestly.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Awesome.
Yeah,
because it does mean a lot to us.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, we go into Repent, and this is I don't know why, but this song actually put me into this space. Or actually, the first three songs really put me into the space of what I call the quote unquote driving music. There was this goofy kind of movie a long time ago, maybe almost a decade ago now, called The Rocker. Have you guys ever seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that show. Yeah, with the guy from
The Office.
Yeah.
Rainn Wilson or something. So he did this thing where he had the test, and the test was you put the music in the car and you drive around to see if it sounds good.
Definitely.
Dude, we've been knowing that forever. That's called every time I record, being the guy, I've recorded the album and stuff, but I've recorded a lot of my projects that I have in the past. And one of the first things I ever do when I have a pretty decent mix is I burn the CD and then go for a drive, because there's nothing better than, the car test. I think that's what Richard used to call it back in the day, the car test, because, everything's enclosed and you really hear, to me at least, maybe some people are different, engineers or producers, but to me, I liked it. If it sounds good in the car, that's to me where it's going to be.
Where do 90% of people listen to music?
Yeah,
So that's where you want it to sound good. I mean, We want you to have your morning coffee on your commute to work and get Burn Ritualed out, man. I
mean, get it done. So what can you tell me about Repent?
That was probably, it's funny because a lot of the order of the songs of the album kind of fall in line the way we wrote it and the way they fall in the set list. In fact, we still play Raven, Repent, and Mountain of Smoke all back to back.
Yeah, we do.
And that's the way it is on the album. It's just one of those things, I guess. What do you want to know? But you want to know what the lyrics are about, or you want to know just the song in general?
Here's the thing. Over doing a podcast over, almost a year now, I've learned I don't really try to ask about what the lyrics are about. Sometimes it gets pretty personal with people. Yeah. Whatever you want to share, man. Even the process of it, I don't care.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it was basically the second song we wrote as a band. And to me, when I listen to it, even to this day, it feels a little bit different than everything else on the album, but that's okay. I like that's one of the songs that has keys in it. It has a little bit of an organ going on in the background.
Mm-hmm. Fits with the motif. And
I'm going to take a quick break because, I saw Green Druid a few weeks ago, interviewed them. Ash and Blood, what a great release. Let's hear another track from that. This is Pale Blood Sky.
way I write a lot of the stuff, just at my house and with GarageBand that's not what I use when I record our albums, but it's something on my iPad that I can reach for real quick. And
Right.
I usually just use like the cheesy drummer guy that's on there to keep a steady beat. But I remember the song was super slow before that.
Oh, way slow.
But it's kind of got that COC vibe, like a little bit, like more of a bluesy stoner rock thing.
We'll put it to you this way. We want to record the video for it in Colorado.
Yeah.
And
Right.
we want to be choked out of our fucking minds when we do it. So
Now, let me ask you, this mountain of smoke and where this little man is it like more of is it a sativa mountain or is it an indica mountain?
no, we're sativa guys.
All right.
Straight up. Yeah.
Do you have a like a choice, any particular type? Like, I just interviewed Green Druid, and they did a Weed Olympics a long time ago, and they had one that won. So, I apologize because I've been listening to this album over and over, but I wrote stuff down, and I kind of think I wrote it out of order a little bit, but the song that has the crackling of the fire kind of at the end.
Yeah. Repent.
Let's repent.
Okay. I just wanted you just go back to that for a second, because you were talking like in the first track, you felt it was kind of like sinister in a way, or like ish the mirror. But
Right.
On Repent, I got that really sinister kind of guitar riff, and in turn on Mountain of Smoke, I got something. Do you know who Andrew Wood is?
I don't personally.
No.
Andrew Wood was a vocalist, and I felt like I heard that vocal on Mountain of Smoke a little bit, where he was from a band called Mother Love Bone.
Oh yeah. Now,
Yeah.
while you were saying that, my brain was like turning, and I was like, man, I know that name from somewhere, and I was about to say Screaming Trees, actually.
Yeah,
But,
you're close.
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
And I got
Yeah,
I just got that vibe. It's like they're one of my favorite kind of grungy bands that didn't make it, but I basically look at Mother Love Bone as they are what Pearl Jam is. It's like if it wasn't for Mother Love Bone, there'd be no Pearl Jam, and if Andrew Wood didn't die, Mother Love Bone would have been Pearl Jam, in my estimation.
Yeah, exactly. I think Eddie Vedder always says on that he was the better frontman and this and that, yada yada. I've seen a few. I think I saw a documentary about it one time, but yeah, you're right. Great vocalist.
For sure, and I think you brought a little element of that. Maybe it was, I can't say it was conscious, but but I just felt something like that, and I love that style. So I just had to add that to you.
Killer.
What can you tell me about the creature inside you?
That was one that I kind of had. I didn't have it written, but I told the guys in the band when we were talking about the album, when we were getting kind of close to recording and this and that, I said, man, I'd really like to have a jam on the album that's, a slow, kind of trippy, kind of just song that was just, because I like when a lot of bands have that, that one song that kind of dips down when you're listening to the whole album. And so I remember writing it in little pieces at my house, and kind of when it was done, I thought to myself, I remember calling Brent on the phone and telling him, I said, hey, dude, I wrote this, this jam for what I wanted to talk about, like a trippy kind of. At first, I thought it was going to be an instrumental,
Right.
but then I put vocals to it, and after hearing it and the way it was, I didn't think it needed any kind of drums or anything. There's an egg shaker in there, actually, with some pretty strong reverb. And
I can hear
actually,
that.
I didn't have an egg shaker on hand. I actually remembered that my son had gotten one of those kind of Walmart cheesy little, it was like, it was a drum. It had some little tambourines and stuff, but the only thing that was considered close to being like the real thing was the egg shaker, because, an egg shaker is an egg shaker, you know what I mean?
Sure.
But I remember grabbing it and using it, and I was like, wow, it sounds killer. And I remember telling Brent, I said, hey, man, I think I'm just going to play everything on this because it really doesn't need anything beyond what I had already thrown on. I even did the bass guitar, and I'm really not a bass player, but I mean, it was just simple groove. And so they were like, cool with it. Yeah, do it, you know, and that's how that song came out. I wanted there to be a part, like, just in case, you know, because I remember back in the day, or even now, when I listen to a full album, I sit there and maybe throw my headphones on and maybe, you know, just kind of jam it out. And I always like it when there's a slow jam in there, where
like an interlude.
Yeah, an interlude, or
Absolutely.
Even if somebody's used to the album by then, like they've jammed it a few times and know that song's coming up, maybe it's a song where they can go grab a beer or fucking light up a joint or whatever, and it
is a lead up to the song that comes.
Right. Yeah.
It sure is. I mean, as I hear it, I get a little like an Alice in Chains doomy vibe mixed with like a Planet Caravan.
Wow. Yeah. Well. Yeah. But the Alice in Chains thing, Alice in Chains is like one of my favorite bands ever. But yeah, Planet Caravan for sure. And I knew that because, you know, there's a little bit of that phase vocal thing going on. And I said, you know, to my head, I was thinking, man, this sounds a lot like Planet Caravan. It's not like I meant to do that, but it was kind of great homage because I really love Black Sabbath too. They're one of my favorite bands also, you know.
Let me stop you right there. Can we just give a second? Can we please just praise Iomi? Say praise Iomi, praise him to the highest.
Praise Iomi.
Thank you, sir. Continue.
Yeah.
And Bill Ward.
Oh, yeah, and Bill Ward.
And Bill Ward.
And actually, but yeah, now that we started talking about Black Sabbath, I got off my key of what I was thinking about. But yeah, Hell, Iomi, Hell, Bill Ward, Ozzy, all of them. But yeah, so that song, man, I totally lost my train of thought now.
I'm sorry. Oh, God. We were talking about Alice in Chains and Planet Caravan, and you know, you didn't plan on it, but you kind of knew where it was going a little bit.
Yeah, no, the song was definitely planned. Like I said, I just wanted there to be a part where somebody could just chill out, and then as soon as Follow Me comes back, because Follow Me is such kind of a big riff and kind of it's a pretty heavy song, so I wanted that, as soon as that little guitar thing to end. I remember one of the first people that heard the album the way it was going to be was my brother, actually. I went down to Corpus, where I'm actually from, and visit him, and I remember showing him, and I said, hey, dude, I want to show you the album. And it was pretty much mixed at that point. It wasn't mastered or anything, of course, but I remember telling him that's the whole part of the experience. And, you know, he's really into rap music and stuff, so, but he still loves and appreciates. I remember he was into Soundgarden and bands like that. So he was one that told me, he goes, yeah, man, I love that fact, because somebody can be jamming to The Creature Inside You, and all of a sudden, boom, we hit you back with Follow Me, like, remember, you know, here we are again, heavy again. So it all makes a sense. And then, like, and he even said Castaway ending. He was like, man, it's a great ending because, you know, it just chills out with the wind and
taking you home.
Yeah. So
absolutely. Like, The Creature Inside You gives you that, you know, that down part of the roller coaster where you're just vibing, you're just chilling.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Follow Me comes in with this punch, this harder vocal. I don't want to say a harsher vocal, but it's just a harder vocal. Mm-hmm. And then you come back into Castaway, which kind of like floats you away with these harmonies of sorts that are just beautiful.
Oh, man. Sweet, man.
So, what can you tell me about the last two tracks here? So we got Follow Me.
Yeah, Follow Me was. Yeah, that was the only carryover song that we had from our project before Burn Ritual. We had a project called King Earth, It didn't last too long, but
About a year.
basically, that was the only song, because I didn't really like the fact, I didn't want to bring any songs over from the previous band, even though I had wrote all the songs from just about almost all of them, 90% of them, but I didn't want to. I told them, I remember, they were like, should we do any King Earth songs? I said, I don't really want to, but the only one I would do would be Follow Me. And actually, the only reason why Follow Me really ended up being a Burn Ritual song is because after we formed the whole band, we booked a gig, I want to say it was 2 or 2.5 months after. So we didn't really have a lot of time to get a full, we needed 8 or 9 songs for the gig we were booked.
Right.
And so we were like, shit, man, we really need to. So I think it was one of those things, we brought it over because we needed some extra time in the set, but actually ended up being a Burn Ritual song more than a King Earth song, because
it's the members in the parts that make it what it is, and really and truly, when it comes to Follow Me, that is my favorite song to play live because it has got some energy. It is heavy.
Yeah.
I love the vocal on it. It blows.
Yeah, I was trying to go, especially with the vocal style, I was trying to go with kind of like a Mastodon or a kind of, I don't even know, I'm trying to think. Something that was more, not shouting, because I'm not a shouting vocalist, but just more aggressive, like you said. It definitely, we were going for that, because the song is kind of, the lyrical theme and this and that is basically, just saying that, you people, especially like the government, tries to tell the people that they're gonna, how they should act or how they should live, and
every day
follow my example. Basically, you better follow me through your devices. That's why it's part of the song. Follow me through your phones, follow me through whatever way, and basically just follow my way and don't follow your own way. So that's basically what the song's about. So it kind of has to have that kind of aggressive style, I would say.
Absolutely.
And it used to be a longer song, actually. I think it might be the shortest song. Maybe The Mirror is the shortest song on the album, but it used to have a part where we would fade out at the end and we would do this kind of straight up metal, maybe even 80s metal, 90s metal. Kind of almost like a hardcore riff, like a hardcore band.
Nice.
Like a Hatebreed or a Sick of It All kind of band. But it would go through this whole thing. But when it got close to doing the album, the more I remembered it and heard it, I was like, I just think that maybe we could just cut it off right there and not have that heavy part. But I remember telling the guy, the owner of Curse Monk Records, I messaged him and told him about, when I was telling him about the album, and I remember that song, I remember him telling me was one of his favorite songs from the album, and I had told him the same story I'm telling you, the fact that it used to have a fast ending. I was like, oh man, I would love to hear it like that. He's like, y'all should play it live like that, and because he said, I love to go check out bands, and when they transform a song or extend them or do like a long jam at the end, he's all, y'all should play it live. So we might do it like that live again, but we don't have any plans to do it, but maybe one day. I don't know.
Nice. Now let me ask you this: when you play live, would you ever think of bringing Beneath the Shadows in as like a little something extra?
Oh wow, I didn't know. Man, you must have did some research.
That's my job, brother. That's my job.
No, because man, that would probably be, that's not a difficult song to play on guitar by any means, but it would probably be a difficult song to sing and play at the same time. Not when, because it does break down and do that bass and drum only thing with the vocals, but when it comes in, it would be hard for me to, like I said, I wrote probably 90% of the riffs for that band. I think Richard wrote one song or two. Yeah. And but being I used to only play guitar in that band, so to sing those lyrics would probably be, even though those lyrics were mine, actually. Now that I think about it, it wasn't the guy that's singing on that record. Those weren't his lyrics. So that could be a Burn Ritual song, but it would probably be difficult to pull it off. No. Why, did you like that one?
I liked it. Hey, man, I'm always a fan when I can go to a show and, I hear something that, I didn't think they would play. It doesn't matter to me whether it's a cover or whether it's a song from a previous band. It's something just outside the box. It's like watching a comic. You've seen so many comics when you can see the setup. You know what the punchline is going to be. But there's some comics that, as they tell you the joke, they have a misdirect and they go a completely different way. Yeah. I love seeing that every once in a while.
I think for us, we love that song, and actually the recording of that video that we did was a fun experience.
Mm-hmm.
Just going to take a quick break here. Let's hear the title track from the latest release from Burn Ritual. This is Blood of the Raven.
long process, me and Jake especially, with when we went from having a standalone singer to Jake taking over the vocals. Mm-hmm. And we tried a lot of that King Earth stuff, and it was written for a different person.
Okay. Okay.
So, when we tried to transfer it and do it with Jake, we decided that, as a matter of fact, when we decided to do that, we still had 3 shows booked and commitments made with King Earth. And we tried to not use that singer for those last 3 shows and just let Jake do it. And we did a couple of rehearsals, and it wasn't written for him.
Yeah.
Right.
So Follow Me was the one that we thought did fit Jake's style of singing.
Yeah.
And by the way, we've all done this learning curve together, which is cool as shit. You know? As a matter of fact, I played drums on Like Suffering.
Yes, you did on the second track. Yeah, Like Suffering. Yeah.
I thought was pretty cool because Jake came up with this stuff on his own, and then, brought it to me. He sent me Unleash the Dogs, which blew my mind. Because I'll tell you right now, that is a killer fucking track. That track is lit. And he sent that to me, and I went, holy shit. And then he said, you know what, I really want you to be a part of this other one. And he brought it over, and we actually recorded that in my living room, as a matter of fact.
Wow.
And it was the first day I'd heard it. We sat down, we recorded that thing, and it is what it is. I'm proud of it. But that was Jake's flower blooming, if you will.
like the Yellow Rose of Texas.
That's it.
That no matter what I ever do, and I mean, I've been in and out of bands, done a ton of my own bands that are just kind of whatever. But whatever happens in the future, that little EP, that little 2-song EP will always be special to me because I wasn't really expecting anything to really happen out of it. It was mainly just I had recorded a lot of one-man things, in the past couple of years before that. Basically, as soon as I started learning how to, record on the computer and record bands, I was basically, because you don't have your band members at your house all the time. So a lot of times I was just having fun, hey, I'll just, play the guitar, play the drums, whatever. So when it came to that EP, that's why I'm super proud about it, is I really wasn't expecting too much. I wrote those songs in a span of like a couple days, and my wife and my kids had went out of town for 4 days, I remember, and I was basically by myself. And
really killer weed.
Yeah, that was a part of it. But,
nice.
I basically just said, hey, if I'm going to do something, I had these 2 songs that I had kind of loosely written already. A lot of it was in my head, but I had the main riffs kind of recorded probably on my phone or something. But I really took those days and I said, well, shit, I'm just going to record everything. I'm not even going to sing on the damn thing. And, when I started showing different people, I remember, I think the first person, you might have been the second person. I showed Richard, I think, first. And he came over to my house and I showed him the 2 songs. And he was like, dude, he's like, you need to do a band of this shit, like, for real. And I was like, oh, shit. And I was like, all right, cool. And I was like, well, would you be interested in doing it? Yeah, fuck yeah. And, but yeah, like I said, I got off a little bit on that, but the EP will always mean a lot because the day that I put it out on the internet, I remember Mr. Doom 666.
That's what I was about to say. Big up to Mr. Doom 666, man, because he pushed the shit out of that thing.
Right.
And from some guys, he didn't know who the fuck we are.
Yeah.
He put us out there, man, and that got us to where we're at now.
Nah, he knew me.
Yeah.
He knew me from a previous band, I think Scissor Jack. He had posted one of our videos or something, or a song on his channel. But we're talking about, in case you didn't know, Mr. Doom 666, the YouTube channel guy. He's one of those guys, just like the Smod, that do the full album uploads or what have you. But I remember he put it on that very day, I think it was, that I put it on Bandcamp. It was already on there. And got all these views real quick, and there was people commenting, and all of a sudden I started getting a lot of downloads from Bandcamp, and I was like, fuck, holy shit, like, wasn't expecting that. It was really, I was just doing it for me kind of deal and putting it out there. Of course I wanted people to hear it, but and it kind of took off like that, and that's when I knew after all that, you know, I was like, shit, I should make a full band out of this, you know, so we can play live and what have you, so I'm not just doing this shit out of my living room, you know. I wanted to hear it cranked up with like the amps and
absolutely
full on. So
there's nothing that beats the live experience.
Yeah.
You know what? Thank you, because you know, every once in a while you go to a show and, for lack of a better term, it might be a little light. And you know what? It hurts me a little bit, and I'm not even in the band. You know, it's like, come out and support your scene, man, and check shit out live. You know, I see some people even on the internet and stuff that they'll do some writing and stuff, but I don't ever see them post like a picture or a video of a show. And I know that sometimes that gets frowned upon, but like, just show that you're a part of the scene, man.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm an ambassador of the scene.
Yeah.
And I live dead shot in the middle of Austin and San Antonio. And I go to every show I can in Austin, and I go to every show I can in San Antonio. And I've been to Denver, Las Vegas, Houston, Dallas, and it's about the scene. And right now we're in the middle of a hotbed for doom and stoner.
You got that right.
The hotbed is Austin and San Antonio, Texas, and it's happening down here, man. And hell, when I leave here tonight, I'm going to a show.
What are you gonna see?
I'm gonna go see the Great Electric Quest and Duel.
No shit. I saw Duel just a few months ago. I'm gonna see Great Electric Quest. They're my boys. I'm gonna see them Monday night.
Dude, mucho fucking drums.
You know what? And this is check this out. So this Monday night, these are the concerts that are available. So we have Great Electric Quest, Clutch is at another venue, and Wind Hand is at another venue.
Wind Hand's playing tomorrow night in Austin. It's unfortunate I can't go, and I'm fucking dying for that. But
well, I got to see my boys Quest, man. But that Duel, oh my God, what a great show! I got to get them on the podcast. They put on a dynamite show.
We're big friends with Tom Frank, man. He puts us on shows. He has his own booking thing. Tom Frank's a cool motherfucker. Duel is a badass live band.
They really are, and I love that little, I don't know what you want to call it, that little shuffle going on.
Definitely.
That little Texas shuffle.
I'll be shuffling tonight, for sure.
Okay, so let's continue. Let's finish this out with Castaway. What can you tell me?
Castaway is just probably what a lot of people will get out of it. I mean, if we want to talk about the lyrical theme, it's just basically about wanting to just fly away for a while, you know, whether somebody's got what kind of issues they got going on with their life or what have you. It's not really about like running away from your problems, but sometimes you just gotta, you know, sail off for a little while, and that doesn't mean physically, you know, sometimes mentally or whatever, but just escape. You know, basically that's what it's about. There's not a whole lot of lyrics in it. I mean, you know, when you really dive into it, but that's basically what I was trying to get lyrically. But
it's a driving beat, though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
it's a driving beat.
When I remember writing that song, and mainly the main riff, what I instantly thought about is Monolord for some reason. We all are big fans of Monolord.
Absolutely.
And, we actually, in our old band King Earth, we got to open up for them.
Our first show ever.
Yeah.
Nice.
And just watching them in person and how big their sound was and what have you. One thing I always liked about their band was that there wasn't a whole lot of stuff like complex guitar or anything like that. It's mainly about just big driving riffs and like the drums.
Dude, Esben, the drummer, is a fucking monster.
Yeah, I love the fact that it's really, the drums also real simple too. It's basically just all about being big and so that's what I thought about it. And I was like, when we started really writing it together as a band and getting over the arranging the parts and stuff. And, I was like, shit, man. I was kind of going with that monologue vibe with the vocals too, with a little bit of the, echoey, kind of phasery.
I'll tell you what, we were little kids with big eyes at that show when we played with monologue.
Yeah.
A lot of things.
Yeah. It was
a lot of things.
But, but going back, the song, it's just, I knew from day one, I always knew, remember I told you that I always thought it was going to be the last song of the album.
Right.
I already knew,
it's the send-off, man. It's perfect.
It just, to me, it always felt like a last song on the album, especially the way it ended. There's a little guitar doodle thing, solo, I guess you call it, but really what happened was when I was recording it, I was recording the second guitar track, I just did it for fun at the very end. I was like, little thing, and I remember showing the guys, and they were like, "Oh shit, that sounds badass." And I was like, "Really?" I was just kind of messing around, and they're like, "You should keep that." And I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Should I redo it?" And they're like, "Nah, just keep that one on there." I was like, "Fuck yeah, I guess so."
Just keep the scratch track.
So I even had to learn what the hell I was doing there. I remember to even play it live now, but. Yeah, that song, I always knew it would be the last song. There's just something about it.
It's the send-off.
Yeah, it's exactly it. It is the send-off. It couldn't be said better. And also, Brent, I apologize. I know I stepped on you before. Mucho, what a fantastic drummer, man.
Man, I can't wait for later on tonight. Mucho is the shit. Slow Season, Cody Tarble in Slow Season. Mucho and him are doing a thing together that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Drums, it's kind of funny because Jake is a drummer too, and he's way fucking better than I am. And so I've got the Dave Grohl thing looking at me all the time.
Shit.
But, nah, man, we love, right now, dude, we are in the best time of music that we could ever be because there's so many guys out there. And yes, nobody's making a shitload of cash, but it's the love of what we're doing that brings it all together. And we want to talk about the scene some more. Great Electric Quest is from California. They're homies of ours.
Yeah.
They come down enough. We hang with them. They're our friends. My kick drum skin that's on there now for the record was made by Mucho Drums.
That's funny you should say Mucho Drums, kick drum skin is on my wall right now. I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, you got one?
Yeah, he graced me with one. He's just, I don't know, man. I can't say enough great about those guys. And that solo that he pulls off during the set, phenomenal.
Talk about where he pushes the drumstick down on the fucking tom.
Yeah, that dun 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 dun.
Yeah, dude, it's lit. I love it. Right now, dude, we are in the hotbed of killer fucking music. And it's everywhere. I mean, I'm discovering new shit every day.
Right.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, there's a lot of good shit out there.
There's plenty out there. Now, I have a few other things I want to go over, but since we're talking about this right now, for both of you, whoever wants to answer first, what was your favorite show of the year this far?
That we went to or played?
You there, Chris?
Yeah, I'm here.
That we went to or played?
Oh, I'm sorry. That you went to.
Okay. I'm going to start off with this one, and that's going to have to be The Well and Electric Wizard that I saw in Austin. We ate some serious brownies. Fucking floated through that thing, but The Well from Austin is a killer fucking band.
Hell yeah.
And of course, you can't beat Electric Wizard, so I'm going to go with that.
Okay.
And dude, that I've seen every fucking band there is, so it was tough.
Well, first of all, let me say this disclosure. Brent goes to a ton of shows.
I go to everything.
He is right. He supports the hell out of the scene here and in Austin and sometimes in Houston.
Shit. And I said,
yeah,
Denver,
yeah,
fucking Vegas. I went to Psycho.
But you know, and we were just talking about this earlier, yeah, because you know, I don't really go to too many shows. I sometimes don't even like to go to my shows. But, no, I mean, and that's not because of the music or anything, because of course I love the music and I love being on stage. But
what did you see? Tell me something.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, I got a family at home. I got 2 kids that are both under the age of 4, so it's hard to break loose sometimes to go to a show that I'm not playing. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
But I will say one of my favorite shows that I've seen this year that I was actually there because I was playing too, but fuck, I was watching the bands, was probably Goya, right?
Goya. Yeah.
Goya from Arizona.
Yeah, Goya's going to be playing here like in about 2 weeks.
Right.
Which was cool because we played with Goya that night, and then I went to Austin Terror Fest and saw him the very next night.
Yeah. That was my first time seeing him live. I'd actually been a fan of Jeff's band for, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years.
Right.
And because they got a lot of albums out now, but I'd never seen them live. I think they had come through Texas a few times, but I never went to a show. But we got a chance to open up with them, but I was also looking forward to watching them.
Well,
being a fan, and I really enjoyed it. I thought they killed it.
Yeah, which comes to the next point is, and I do got to give a shout out to Lois Smoke Jr., who hooked us up with that show.
Yeah. He's a promoter here in San Antonio. He does mainly all the stoner doom and psych stuff. And,
Right, he's the one putting on the show that I'm going to later on tonight.
Yeah.
Loy, you know, Jake called me and he goes, "Hey, Goya's coming through town.
Yeah.
Call your boy Loy."
Yeah.
Tell him to get us on that shit.
Heck yeah, I wanted to play on it because I wanted to go just to check it out, but I also wanted to play on it, of course.
Of course.
It was pretty epic.
And it was at a really tiny venue here in San Antonio, super small place, but it made the band sound just as big as they sound on their albums because it was so closed in, you know?
Yeah, and hey, dude, Jeff is a cool motherfucker. So
Yeah, he was cool.
We
dude.
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Have you gotten a chance to see his other project, Spirit Adrift?
Sure thing. I've seen him. I saw Spirit Adrift in Psycho. You know.
It was fantastic. I've seen it in Arizona, and it's just fantastic, man. And with Nate playing, you know.
It's a totally different vibe from Goya, which is cool.
Yeah.
And most of the same members. I mean, the drummer switches over.
Yeah, the drummer's from there, yeah.
Dude, we love everything that's going on now, man. I mean, it's crazy how much good music is out there. But yeah, definitely.
There is a ton. Now, just want to switch gears a little bit and talk a little bit about your merch. Because off mic, you told me something kind of interesting. So you got a couple different logos here, and so you're making up your shirts and etc. So you want to talk about who makes all that?
Yeah, that would be me. It's something that I remember probably back in the late 90s, I started messing around with Photoshop and stuff. So I used to make all the flyers for whatever said band I was in at the time. But one of those things where I just started doing it, and I was the guy in every band that I was in where it's like, oh shit, well, we're going to do a demo or something. Let me do the cover or whatever. And so it just, like anything, bicycle or whatever, the more you do it, the better you get at it. So I've always just done that, and it's part of the whole, I guess, experience for me. That's one thing I love about being in a band is actually doing the artwork and stuff. It's fun, and I've done a few stuff for bands that I wasn't in, but most of the stuff that I've ever done, logo-wise or artwork-wise, it's always for something that I'm a part of, some band that I'm a part of. But
that's the next question: is if somebody needs your services, can they contact you, or do you just do it for the band?
Yeah, they're
Heavy Octane.
Yeah, Heavy Octane Designs on Facebook is my page.
Okay.
So you can get a hold of me, and I like to do it. I mean, the band keeps me busy, and also screen printing jobs and stuff like that. But I do like to work for other bands. I've done some stuff for a band called Smoke Mountain out of Florida. They're a killer band.
Yeah, I know Smoke Mountain. Yeah.
Yeah. I've done some logo stuff for them, and I'm hoping to do their next album cover, but we'll see. But yeah, it's just something I've always done, and I enjoy doing it just as much as probably all aspects of being in a band is doing that. It's one thing we don't have to worry about, in the future though. Like, who knows, maybe on the next album or the album after that, if we get somebody else, like more of an artist person that does it for a living, because I don't want to always do all the merch or all the covers, because
he's controlling like.
No. No, I would like to bring somebody else's mind into it at one point, but a lot of times it's because of money. I was telling my dad this on the phone because we were laughing about, he sees my name, the artwork, Jake Lewis, the music, Jake Lewis, whatever. I said, but a lot of times, and even that's what brought it up. He had saw our video that we just did, the music video, and he was like, "Oh, you shot that and you did all the editing?" I was like, "Yeah, that's great." And I was like, "Yeah," but I was like, the main reason why I always did that is because a lot of times in the bands I was in, we didn't have any money, or we couldn't hire anybody, So fuck, I was like, well, I'm just gonna learn how to do. So I might not know as much as somebody that maybe went to school for whatever said thing, but I was like, shit.
To be on MTV with those videos.
Yeah, I mean, it was just something. Well, shit. Well, we can keep it inside the band, and we can have control of it, and we don't have to pay for it. We don't have to pay some guy to do it. Whatever it is, artwork, videos, what have you. But
that's one point I wanted to touch on with this scene that we're in nowadays is the fact that it's very DIY.
Exactly.
Does most of their stuff themselves, and we appreciate the shit out of that. It feels, to me, kind of like the punk rock of the 70s.
Totally.
Everybody did everything themselves, and that's what the doom and stoner scene is nowadays. And Jake's a fucking genius, man. And you can't pat him on the back anymore. And I wouldn't want to be in any other band because we don't have to go anywhere else. Everything is done in-house. When it comes to the recording, when it comes to the videos, when it comes to the merchandise, when it comes to all that stuff, we do it all right here. We don't have to farm that out to anybody. And that does, because it's not a big money game. We're not in a big money game. So everything that we can save by doing it ourselves brings it all right back to us. And that's where we want to be,
Yeah. Completely. Wow, guys, you make this so easy, man. I thank you so much for all this info and input. I have a couple of questions. I don't know if they're going to be short or not. I'm going to try and keep them short. I'm just going to rattle off some questions, and I just kind of want you to, like, the first thing that pops into your head. How about that?
Okay, cool.
Okay, do you believe in conspiracy theories, and if so, what?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead. What do you believe in? Give me something. Give me one or two.
Alien cover-ups.
Okay. And Brent?
I'm going to have to ditto that.
There's a great story. I interviewed this band out in at the Stoner Days Fest that Damon Caraway put on. The band Hexus. He's got a great story about an alien sighting, let's say. And they're from Alabama. Not that it means anything.
Which band was it?
Hexus, Hexxus.
I've heard.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, if you can go back in time once and change a single thing, what would it be?
Oh shit, you go first.
Man, dude. That's a good one. I'm gonna have to change the prohibition on marijuana, man.
Okay.
That's where I'm gonna come from, because it's crazy the fact that we're over here being regulated. Alcohol is so freely given, but marijuana is prohibited, and it's basically because of the industry of America. It doesn't want it out there.
Right.
It kills a lot of things that people make a lot of money off of.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think of something still.
All right, how about this?
You really got me on that question.
Got me too.
Threw me off a little bit. I was like, what?
Jake, you hold off on that, because I got one specifically for Brent, because he's not the vocalist. So, Brent, what song would you rock at karaoke?
Of ours?
Yeah.
It's gonna have to be "Follow Me, Man." That's my favorite.
What is it?
It's gonna have to be "Follow Me."
Okay, right on.
I would definitely rock that out. And by the way, I'm a karaoke nightmare.
And this one goes out to both of you. What's your current earworm song?
Earworm song?
Yeah, are you familiar with that term?
No.
It's like that song that you just can't get out of your head no matter how hard you've been trying.
Oh, I got you. I'm addicted to black magic.
Okay.
That's mine.
Man, he even gave you a singing audition.
Addicted to black magic.
And that sounds like that's the next song he's gonna rock at karaoke. So I mean,
I'll probably do that. Yeah, definitely. Karaoke don't have our shit.
I think lately, if you're talking about lately for me, if you're talking about something that's recent that can't get out of my head and I find myself singing it a lot is, and I don't even know the fucking lyrics except the chorus, is that "I'm Heroin" by what's that band called?
Mephistofeles. Both their albums, I listen to them probably daily right now. I'm looking for other bands that are close to that sound because it's so fucking dirty.
Yeah, I know.
I've got Horror on vinyl, and I don't have "I'm Heroin," and I'm killing myself right now.
Yeah, it's funny because every time, that most of the time I would say, if I'm around my house or whatever and I want to throw some tunes on, that's one of the things I always grab for. That album's really killer. Their other album, I guess, is called Horror.
Yeah.
That's the one that I have.
That one's good too, but something about the "I'm Heroin" really grabs me because there's, like you said, it's very dirty, and I like all aspects of the album because, being a guy that I started out as a drummer and then later on became a guitar player and then everything else fell in, but I can appreciate everything when I listen to it, and there's something about that, especially on that "I'm Heroin" album. I always love this. I don't even know if it's a song. The second thing that comes in after the first song, it's like an upbeat thing. The drummer's doing this killer, like, shuffle beat. And, fuck, man, that's one of my favorite parts of the album, actually. I just usually wait for that part to kick in, and sometimes even after that I'll throw it on something else. But I love that part about it, man. It's pretty gnarly, dude. I like that.
While we're talking about Mephistofeles, let's hear a track off of "I'm Heroin." I think this is the track that he's talking about. This is The Rogue.
Okay, guys, sorry about that. I hit something on the computer. We're back. I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
Okay, so, all right. So we got that out of the way. Okay, so
Okay.
Mephistofeles. Okay, so what would you do differently if the band was starting now?
I don't think we do much, man.
Nothing really. I mean,
I think we're pretty content where we're at, man. All the members are make up what we need it to be, and you know, things are moving forward. I don't think I'd do shit different.
Yeah, in fact, I've already got pretty much 5-6 songs for the next album ready.
Nice.
We're trying to move kind of not too fast, but we don't want such a large gap in between our next thing. But I already have visions of the next album being just blowing this album away, because I think the newer songs are definitely a little bit more step up to me, that, at least in my opinion or whatever. And we rehearsed a few of them as a band, and the rest of the guys feel it too. So I'm looking forward to. I wouldn't change anything right now either. I think we're right where we want to be, and the next album I think is going to be really killer.
We're going evil.
Yeah, it's probably going to go back to being a little bit more darker, like our EP was.
Nice.
At least that's what the songs are given way to.
Evil.
Like you said, you jam Mephistofeles a lot. I jam them a lot. I jam a lot of. I'm trying to think of some of the other bands that are in their vein. A lot of people have said that sometimes my vocals remind them of Uncle Acid. And,
yeah, I could hear that.
We're big fans of that band too. We're big fans of a lot of stoner and doom bands, but of course other genres too, blues and what have you. But I definitely sense that the next record is probably going to be going back to the first EP vibe, a little bit more darker, evil sounding stuff.
Darker and big.
And probably will be more on the doom side than the stoner side. But on this record, Blood of the Raven, I really wanted to try to kind of have an even kind of vibe with it. So some of the songs maybe are a little bit more stoner than they would be doom, or whatever label you want to put on it. I wanted it to be a little bit more of a mix. But
Right.
I definitely see the next record not being, I don't want to say all the songs are going to sound the same, but you know what I mean? Like, I think the theme will be a little bit more locked in, I guess you could put it.
Absolutely. Now, just to continue with that, when you were talking about Mephistofeles, I know this is going to air a little bit later, but tomorrow there is going, and it'll probably be sold out by the time this airs, the new release from the Devil's Witches.
Hey, I'm a cherry bomb guy, man. I listen to the shit out of the Devil's Witches.
Now, they did a track called Magic Wand that had Gabriel Rivera from Mephistofeles.
Correct, yeah.
And I know they put that out. They put out Fuck Agent Orange, and I know they're going to put out the full release. I know they're doing the vinyl through Cursed Tongue.
Yeah.
Cursed Tongue Records, yeah.
Shout out to Cursed Tongue. And that kind of brings me to a point here. Do you think you'll ever release this current release as an album?
You mean like as vinyl?
Yeah, as vinyl, yeah.
Right now, dude, it's kind of in limbo because we get that question a lot. Brent collects a lot of vinyl and a lot of doom vinyl too, but a lot of other shit. And we're pretty aware that that's especially in the doom, stoner, psych, whatever genre, that's a big deal.
That's the medium right there.
But unfortunately, like you probably know, and a lot of other musicians out there, that shit's expensive to make. Compared to CDs, you can make 100 CDs for fucking $300, $350.
Right.
But vinyl's going to cost you, $1,500, $2,000 and up. But it's super expensive. So I think what happened, Cursed Monk, not to be confused with Cursed Tongue, but Cursed Monk Records that we're a part of, it's a smaller label. And
upstart, if you will.
Yeah, and it's I'm sure it's a expense that you take a chance on, not knowing that if you're going to get stuck with a bunch of vinyls. You know how that goes.
Sure. Well,
right now, we're basically, we could put it out on vinyl ourselves if we want, and I guess right now we're going to try to gauge that, because we've had a ton of people message us, and, oh, man, why isn't it on vinyl? And I'm not going to buy it because it's not on vinyl. I only jam vinyl. And then we've even had people ask us about cassettes, and which we did put out the EP, the 2-song EP, Like Suffering, on cassette. And
through Hellas.
And that
thank you, Hellas Records.
Yeah, thank you, Hellas Records. But they sold out, so we're totally aware that vinyl and cassettes are probably the most, and probably digital too, but compact disc is probably the least favorite thing, I guess, these days. But man, we're really hoping. I don't know. The record label tells us that, you know, they're trying to work on something.
Right. Because one of the reasons I ask is because the riffs, man, they're just so heavy that I think it would sound amazing.
So do I.
Well, we did, you know, when we had it mastered, we did have it mastered for vinyl too. So we have the master 24-bit vinyl versions that are supposed to be for vinyl. So we have everything locked in. It's just as far as whether or not the funding's going to be there. And I think it depends. You know, the record has only been out since October 1st. What's today? It's only, you know, whatever. I know the Stone Meadow Doom YouTube channel put it up yesterday or the day before, and it's already got like 5,000 something views. And
nice.
So I do see more people liking the band page from Facebook and also Instagram. And
I'm fixing to sell some shit.
We do see and I know the demand's probably there. It's just the funding, you know, to actually get them made. And so I guess it's a risky thing, you know, not knowing. To us, it wouldn't be a risk because it's our money, it's our band. But I guess we're waiting to see what's going to happen. I think I'll know something by December probably if we're going to do it. But one thing's for sure, and I always tell the guys in the band, is the next record for sure is going to be out on vinyl, cassette, and everything else, because it has to fucking be. And whether we put it out on our own, we only signed a 1-record deal with Curse Monk, so we're basically free now to do whatever we want for the next record. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, so we're really hoping, something from Burn Ritual's got to be out on vinyl, you know, within the next year. Something. Whether or not it's this record or the next one, it's got to happen, you know.
All right, you guys heard it here first. So, okay, here's the next question. There is going to be a movie made about your band, and it is called Burn Ritual, the movie. Now, I have to ask Brent first. Brent.
Yes, sir.
Who is going to play Jake in the movie?
That's a good one, man. You know, Jake's a fly boy, so I'm gonna.
Hey, I hate to butt in, but you know who I'd want to play me?
Okay. Go ahead.
What's his name? Jason Segel? Jason, the guy from I Love You, Man. Not Paul Rudd, but the other dude.
Oh, yeah. He was on How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, that dude. Fucking. Hey, he's tall. He's probably taller than me, but fuck it. And I don't know. I just like him. I like that movie. I Love You, Man. It's one of my favorite movies. And he kind of he rocked the guitar a little bit in that movie. He had the Flying V Gibson. And
hey, man, they did an awesome Rush tribute, man. How can you go wrong with that?
There you go.
You know who plays me? Matt Pinfield.
Dude, that would work. He's probably bigger than you, but hey, that would work with the bald head and everything.
Well, Brent, I don't know. I don't think you've ever seen me, but I don't look too far away from that myself.
Awesome. You know, because hey, big guys need love too.
The way I say it, man, I'm vertically challenged, but I'm horizontally blessed.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
All right, so what about the two guys that aren't there?
Do what?
What about the two guys that aren't there? So we got Richard and Chris.
Man.
Trizona's got to be played by Brad Pitt.
No.
Yes, like from when he was in the Spartan movie or whatever? Yeah, Trizona's Brad Pitt. Richard Cheech.
Oh my God.
We used to call, I've known Richard since I was 15 years old. I don't want to say how old I am now, but I've known him for a long fucking time. We actually, like I said earlier, I'm from Corpus Christi originally, not San Antonio. So me and him actually both lived there. And we used to always joke in our little bunch of friends, we used to call him Super Mario. Because he used to rock a mustache back in the day and shit.
He's a stoned ass Mario.
Yeah, he's a stoner Mario from Mario Brothers. But
I love it.
nah, for Trezona or bass player, I don't know. I'm not gonna say Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt, he's got a beard and all that shit. Trezona is a German chiseled guy.
Yeah.
So
and he likes all that Viking shit.
No, he's in the Viking shit. He has a horn that he drinks out of.
Yeah, he's into all that stuff.
Who would that be then? Jeez. Oh, like maybe Chris Helmsworth, possibly.
Oh yeah, maybe he'd have to cut his hair. Because Trezona definitely doesn't have a lock of hair like that. Oh, well, he doesn't either, right? The actor, that's probably like a wig. Doesn't he have short hair in real life?
Yeah, I think he has it short. So, also, last question here, before I ask the band question. What was your last Netflix binge watch?
Oh, man.
Oh, dude, I'll give you that right now. I'm on American Horror Story Cult right now.
Really?
And
Bravo.
watch that shit every night.
I love it, man. I'm trying to get into the new one. I'm backlogged on the newest bunch of episodes, but it is great. And how about yourself?
Man, I watch the hell out of Netflix, especially at night. When everybody's asleep, I'm up. I think me and you talked about this the other day. Are you there?
Oh, yeah. Being up kind of late. I'm a night owl, just like you.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Fuck. Well, if I probably watch something else. I like to watch a lot of the docu-series, like the what was the one about the chick and the dude that bombed the guy in the car? It was in Oklahoma or something. Anyway,
you're talking about the one where the guy got bonded up?
Yeah, and
And
they had to figure out who did it. I can't remember the name of it.
I watched that whole thing too.
It's hard for me to remember his names, but I guess if name dropping something, I remember, I guess it would be the first series of Ozark.
Have you seen the second season yet?
Man, I started it. I was like 2 or 3 in with my wife because she really likes it too. But man, I got off of it for a little while because, shit, man, it's just like music these days. There's just so much content out there. And a lot of the times I'll get on and I'll see something else pop up on Netflix. Oh, let me check that out. And then before you know it, I got like 4 or 5 stuff that I'm kind of like either halfway through or 3/4 through or whatever. So
Completely.
I haven't actually, to answer your question, no, I haven't finished the second season, but I'm about 2 or 3 in, I think.
I saw the first season. I haven't started the second because I know you got once I watch it, I'll rip through it, and it won't be available for a while. But one thing I have been watching, my girlfriend kept telling me, and other people kept telling me over and over again, one of the best shows ever is The Sopranos.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's
Now,
going years back.
I've never seen it. So I just started watching it, and I am in love with it. It is fantastic.
Hey, that's an assload of content right there.
That's one of those ones. That's one of those legendary shows that you can go and watch probably 10 years from now, 30 years from now, maybe even people that weren't alive when they saw it would get into it. I like to do that too sometimes, watch something that I hadn't seen in a while, but usually it's movies and something that reminds me, since you said The Sopranos, is Goodfellas, because Goodfellas has been popping up on Netflix, and even though I've seen it a million times, I always watch it again, or I'll watch some of it and then I'll fall asleep or whatever, but killer fucking movie. Yeah, that's a killer fucking legendary movie.
Between, I don't know, I mean, I'd say Goodfellas would be next to Godfather, of course. But between that and Casino, oh my God.
Oh yeah, Casino's another what something about Goodfellas really, man, I love that fucking movie. It's probably one of my favorite movies.
Mine too, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. What is the question? All right, let's look. Every episode I don't always do, but I try to ask a question from the previous band. This previous band was Via Vengeance, which is Shane, the drummer in the band Source, also.
Okay.
And here is his question. His question is, how legit are the showers at the truck stops? He was going on tour with Source, and he never been to one, but he's like, I think I got to try it.
You mean in Texas here?
I guess anywhere, man.
Oh, well, this band, we haven't really ever gone on like a tour, so we probably wouldn't know too much about truck stops, but I guess if you want to just ask us in general, because of course in Texas there is a lot of fucking truck stops and stuff like that. But
hell yeah, there are.
I'm staying the fuck out.
You saying the bathrooms in general, or did you say the showers?
Just the showers.
Stay out.
Stay out.
Yeah. Gnarly.
I'll get a bar of soap and go jump in a creek.
All right. Well, there you have it. Okay, guys. Listen, man. I want to thank you so much for your time, and I want to know, do you have a question that I can ask the next band I interview?
You got it?
Man.
You got it?
No, do you? I'm trying to think of something. I would rather just ask them something legit about their music. So we have no idea who it is, right?
I don't know. It could be anybody.
I would say, what's the album that turned you on to music? What's the album that got you going?
How about what's the album that got you into the genre that you play? How about that?
There you go. That's a good one.
Okay, got you into the genre.
We all have that one record or maybe a few records, but usually one record that really got you into the scene that your band plays in, I guess you would say.
Absolutely.
I did that.
Before we head out, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I think other bands would like that question because everybody likes to talk about their influences and what have you.
Well, before we leave, can you please tell me what are the two for both of you? What was the influential album?
Yeah,
the genre.
I sold a vehicle when I was really young that was inherited to me, and I bought with that money Black Sabbath Paranoid, and I bought Alice Cooper, the 18 whatever, the School's Out.
Nice.
And those two albums definitely defined me, but I also grew up with my parents jamming a lot of Jethro Tull, so I got lucky, but definitely Paranoid and Alice Cooper.
All right.
Yeah. And for me, I would say, man, it's a hard one, but when I first started getting into doom and stoner, or whatever term you want to put, riff rock on top of what we play, it was basically like I like to call them stoner rock 101 bands, like the big bands that everybody usually knows, like Down or Corrosion of Conformity. And then once you get really into those bigger bands, you start kind of diving in and looking for the more underground bands that play the similar style of music, and that's how I started getting into stoner rock and doom. I started hearing.
What do you got?
Oh, well, going back, I would want to say one of the Down albums.
Down one.
If we're talking about the genre, like kind of similar to what we play, but in all theory, it's probably the first Black Sabbath album, because in Corpus we had one rock station, and the only Sabbath songs they ever played were like Paranoid and War Pigs or something, I guess considered hits. But to me, Black Sabbath, most of their shit's hits to me. But Black Sabbath self-titled album's really the thing that got me super into like wanting to check out more and more doom and heavy stuff like that. It's still one of my favorite albums of all time. Because it's so versatile there's some real jazzy stuff on there, especially with Bill Ward.
Right.
And of course, it's so heavy. I mean, we don't even have to go into it. Everybody knows that album is so heavy. So, yeah, I would have to probably say that album.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for your time. Like I said before, you make it so easy, and I can't wait to see you all come over to my neck of the woods someday.
Where are you at?
We are in Arizona, right in the Sonoran Desert. I'm based out of Phoenix, but Phoenix, Tempe, Scottsdale, Glendale,
I fucked up and drove through Phoenix on my way back from Psycho. And me and the singer guitar player from Monty Luna stashed a shitload of weed that we brought back from Vegas. And somehow my GPS reset and I was going to go away from the checkpoints. And so about 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, the light starts coming up. And I realized that I'm in Phoenix. And I'm like, holy shit, this is going right through the checkpoint. And we ended up driving through with all that shit.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it was cool, straight up.
Yeah, so that, I guess that, Phoenix, that's also where...
that's where...
Stoner Witch Radio.
Stoner Witch, yeah. And I met her, Melissa Collins.
Yes.
I met her at the Electric Wizard show here in Austin.
Yeah, she went to that, yes. Melissa's a cool chick.
Yeah, we need to throw her props, too, because she was one of the first
She
real supporters.
She definitely grabbed hold, and she has supported us from day one.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact.
Well, right on. Guys, thank you so much for your time, and best of luck in mega sales of this latest release.
Hey, thank you, Chris. We really appreciate you having us on the show, man.
Yeah, and hey, one of these days we're going to get on the road and we're going to come out there and meet you, man.
Awesome. And unless, of course, I come out to there and meet you all first.
Hey, do it. Hey, come down to Texas, man, and we'll cue it.
Texas!
We'll cue it up and get you high, and we'll have a good old time.
Right on. You guys take care.
All right, man.
Jake, Brent, thank you so much for your time. I can't wait to see you come out to Arizona. Hopefully someday I'll get to see you all in Texas. Until that time, let's hear another track off of Blood of the Raven. This is Mountain of Smoke. Thanks so much for hanging out towards the end. doomtombpodcast@gmail.com is how to reach us. You can find us on social media as well. We have a bunch of stuff coming up. There's an interview that I am looking to get. I am messaging this person right now. I hope that they get it, and I hope we get this interview really soon. I've been looking forward to this person for quite a long time. So until that time, the next time, the meantime, the in-between time, enjoy yourselves. Keep going to the shows. Buy some band merch every once in a while. And don't forget to stay heavy.